All right, testing. All right, clap. Sweet. Okay. Cool. Well, so I do a podcast called Grodeo, and it's about like gravel racing. And that's the more popular one. This one that we're going to do for this show is like TUFF Talk, which is kind of just conversations around Mammoth Tuff and the gravel event that we do there. But because Alex kind of gave us the reins for Caldera this year, I was like, well, I need to start looping in these Caldera conversations. And we did one at the end of last year for a couple guys that did the Grand Depart, like that actual weekend. And Tony actually finished the 500 for the first time. So we just like got on Zoom and I recorded it and asked him a bunch of questions because I'm sure, as you know, from starting to look through it, you're like, there's not a lot of information on this.
There's not a lot of information. There's not a lot of finishers.
Yeah,
not a lot of people
I know.
have done it.
Yeah. So thanks for coming and doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So Evan Christenson, everybody, welcome to the show. Yeah. Okay, so I want to get your background first. We are like, I would say, we know each other in passing, did a lot of the same races. Are you from Southern California?
Born and raised in San Diego.
Okay. Yeah. But you did a stint on the East Coast?
Man, yeah, I bounced around a while. I lived in North Carolina. I went to school out there for 2 years and then moved to Vermont for a little bit and then moved back and then went to LA.
Oh, okay. Were you chasing like bike racing?
It was all
collegiate?
bike racing, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I raced collegiate for a small school called Lees McRae.
Yeah.
If you know them.
Small, but like everybody knows them in cycling.
Yeah, it's funny. So,
yeah.
800 kids,
right.
Town of 2,000 people in the Appalachians.
Yeah.
It was an interesting experience.
Okay.
So did that, and then I missed California too much, so I transferred to UCLA.
You didn't like the bike racing and school life there?
I liked the bike racing, actually. I didn't like the school.
Oh, okay.
That was the problem, and so, I don't know. And just, I guess, I was ready to come back.
Okay.
I was ready to leave when I left, and then I was like, California's pretty sweet.
Yeah,
so I had
we're
to come
spoiled.
back. Yeah, we got it pretty good out here.
So did you get to keep racing collegiately then?
And then I raced collegiate for UCLA, yeah. Actually,
nice.
So the summer I was transferring over, I made some money and I went for like a big bike tour and I went out to Italy and I was on my road bike.
Oh, okay.
And then right before I was supposed to fly back to LA, I got hit by a car.
Oh, wow.
Broke my neck.
Oh, wow.
And then
right before you had to start school?
Literally 8 days before school started. And then, I got out of the hospital, flew straight to LA. And then I think within 2 days, I was at my first 8 a.m.
Wow.
In a neck brace, had just started walking again. It was.
So for context, what year was that?
That was 2017.
Okay. You're a lot younger than me.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So then how many years at UCLA?
And then I did about 3 years there.
Okay.
And then I raced, I think, really heavily the first year. And then I just kind of had this whole existential crisis when it came to bike racing. I'd been racing bikes since I was about 5.
Yeah.
I started racing BMX when I was 5, and then mountain bikes when I was 10, and then road bikes when I was 13 or 14.
Okay.
And then I just kind of went through the whole gamut, and I don't know, I got to a point where it was I could see where I was going. I knew friends that were I had friends that had gone pro. I had a lot of friends that had burned out. And I was kind of at that point where it was all right, I either have to give my entire existence to this whole thing.
Yeah.
Or kind of back off the gas here. And then I think with breaking my neck and then going to LA, just all those confounding factors, it was pretty easy to kind of back away and try and find other avenues for identity exploration.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, so you raced a little bit though.
And then so I raced the first year really heavily, and then actually my whole goal, I was always obsessed with collegiate nationals.
Yeah.
And then so about 7 months after I broke my neck was the next collegiate nationals, and I trained my butt off, and I really focused on that.
Yeah.
And I ended up I got third in the criterium.
Mm-hmm.
And I was my lifelong friend won it by about 2 feet, and I was just it was awful. And I don't know, after that I had some more crashes, and then I think I really struggled to find the motivation to keep racing. And then after that, racing definitely fell off a cliff for me.
Yeah. I mean, because it's one thing to focus on racing for so long, and then did you kind of have that idea about I could ride bikes, not just race them?
That actually hadn't really ever been much of a thought. I'd always been strictly a bike racer.
Yeah.
Bikes had always been a tool for self-destruction in a way.
Yeah, okay.
and I had no friends that were like just out riding around.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I did some of that BMX around the neighborhood dirt jumpy stuff as a kid,
Yeah.
and then quickly like put that aside as the racing took hold.
Mm-hmm.
And then so once I backed out of racing, like there's just all these avenues of bike riding that I had never really explored before, and got to kind of start chasing those around in LA a little bit, like doing night rides and doing some just like random gravel stuff. And, you know, I became part of the gravel scene for a little bit, and it was so liberating. It was so exciting.
Yeah.
And then I had started camping a little bit, and then I had no idea. I had done some bike tours all on my road bike with like a backpack and staying in hostels.
Okay.
And then I never really camped before. And camping was like this whole new thing in college, and we started camping a little bit. And then I had this friend who showed me bikepacking.com one day, and it blew my mind. He like came over to my apartment. Yeah, and I was just like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. I'll never forget that moment.
Yeah.
And then we watched the film from the Silk Road Mountain Race that year. I think it was like 2016.
Okay,
2017.
yeah.
And it was just like, people are doing this on bicycles out there by themselves. It just didn't make sense. And so I wanted to like look into that a little bit. And then he took me out on a little overnighter. We did one overnighter, and then I flew to Uganda that summer and spent 6 weeks doing the Trans-Uganda. That was my first bikepacking trip.
Holy crap. So you like diving into
that
things.
Was a deep end. That was a welcome to the deep end.
Oh yeah, I'm getting the vibe now. Yeah. You just go all in when you're committed to something.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, if you're gonna try something, you gotta like really try it, you know.
Yeah. So what did you go to school for? Like,
I studied mathematics.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I finished with a degree in math and atmospheric and oceanic sciences.
Wow. Nice.
So I did like climate modeling at the end.
And that was, so school-wise, you graduated 2020?
I graduated like literally last week of class was the beginning of the pandemic.
Okay. And then that's when the truck happened.
Got the truck,
then
yeah. I lived
going
in the
to do
truck
all
for a
this
while,
stuff.
yeah.
So this is like the Asian in me asking this question, but what are you doing work-wise? Like pandemic, traveling,
that
bikes.
Was crazy. Well, so I was working for a bike company actually at the beginning. So I graduated, and I was working previously as a photographer for like a men's fashion company.
Oh, cool.
During school, and then graduated. That totally got shut down due to the pandemic, and then like bike sales were going crazy. So I worked for a bike company selling bikes over email. Remote, and just lived in the truck, drove all over the states. I went from San Diego to Washington to Montana to Texas to Florida to New York.
As like a sales rep?
No, just working 4 hours a day on email.
Wow.
And then just going and climbing mountains and surfing and bikepacking, all the other
like if people
time.
had questions they could email?
Yeah, so it was a direct-to-consumer company.
Okay.
And then so I they needed to talk to people to buy bikes. And
oh, nice.
Everybody was trying to buy a bike back then.
Yeah, it was good timing.
It was funny. We'd be like, yeah, I think we're going to have bikes ready in like a month. And then be like 6 months later, we were like, yes, sorry. Just have nothing available. It was crazy.
Yeah, good problem to have then.
Yeah. Good time to already have a bike.
Yeah. So you would identify now as a photographer.
Yeah.
So you're not really using much of the math degree.
I use none of the math degree. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to at some point?
I think at the end of like my life, when I'm kind of settling down a little bit, I'd like to be a calculus professor.
Oh,
or not a professor, a teacher, like high school calculus.
Nice.
I've always thought that would be fun.
I have very fond memories of calc teachers.
Yeah, I had really great calculus teachers. They were sweet.
Yeah, same. That's cool. So, I mean, like more when you want to just sit and have like a regular job.
Life. Yeah. At some point,
well, I love how you're moving around doing everything. I'm always just curious what people think, down the road.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it shakes out.
Nice. Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I have an engineering degree, so I'm always math nerds and science nerds, like what do you do with the job?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of overlap of like people who kind of like that, the gluttony of hard mathematics also for some reason end up in these kind of sports too. There's a lot of overlap with that.
I never thought about that.
Yeah. A lot of STEM nerds in like outdoors. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like specifically the endurance bike packing stuff or just bikes in general?
Well, I think just like type 2 type fun,
Yeah.
I used to spend a lot of time at the climbing gym in Mira Mesa.
Yeah.
And literally everybody's an engineer there. And it's like, well, it was funny.
That's fascinating.
It's great networking.
I never thought about that. Yeah, very cool. So you graduated, you're doing all this other stuff. You start doing some pieces for bikepacking.com.
Started doing some pieces for bikepacking. Yeah, I wrote actually a piece about bike touring, and then I did a piece about Uganda, and they liked it.
Yeah.
And then started just like pitching them random pieces on trips, and then wrote a couple pieces when I went to Armenia, and then they sent me on an assignment to go to Sea Otter, and then I started writing some other stuff for them. And then I got this other job. How Caldera fits into it is I had this other job for this other bike company that kind of fell apart, and so I had this like 2-month gap all of a sudden, and I had no idea what I was gonna do.
Okay.
And I wanted to do something,
Yeah.
and I had this relationship with bikepacking that was like starting to roll, and so I wanted to do something for them. And then my best friend who I lived with, who lived in the truck with me for a while, he now lives in Mammoth and is just this huge Eastern Sierra nerd and has like done all these crazy backpacking trips up there and just is really connected to that area. And he's like, hey, I heard about this route called Caldera.
Yeah.
There's like nothing available online about it, but like you should look into that.
Yeah.
And so I looked into it and I found the 2 slivers of information. And then I reached out to Alan, and he's like, yeah, it's up. Yeah, go for it. Have fun.
Good luck.
Ride to 29 plus. And that was all he said. Like and I think that's going into it. All I knew
Holy crap.
is it'll be a little hard.
Yeah.
Ride to 29 plus.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah. And so you pitched it to bikepacking then, or you said like, I'm going to go do this?
Yeah. And then they wanted to put the route on their site. And then Alan, he kind of stepped away from the route.
Yeah.
It was definitely floating there.
Yeah.
And then it actually kind of worked out because then they also wanted to pull it off that one website it was on, off of Alex's website.
Yeah.
And then so they needed a place to host the information, and then it just kind of obviously worked out.
Yeah. Nice.
And then, then I just ended up in Mammoth.
So you drove up to Mammoth.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, first of all, before we get into that, I think a lot of who you are in your social presence and on bikepacking.com is kind of like defined by the Baja Divide and
I love
doing all
Baja.
that. Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
So that's
where I've been a lot recently.
Right.
Yeah.
And that kind of is like your thing at the moment,
Yeah,
right? So,
for sure.
so if anybody has questions about the Baja stuff,
Yeah,
you
shoot
can
me
ask,
anything about Baja. Oh.
So, I mean, do you have any other stuff there coming up? Like, are you going to do another...
In Baja?
Yeah.
I got a story coming out actually this week about Baja.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are you going to do it again this winter?
I probably won't. I've done the Divide twice now.
Okay.
I think I need to step away.
Okay. Do something else.
You know what I want to do at some point is I want to guide the Divide.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Because I feel like there's a lot of people who want to do it but aren't like comfortable doing it solo.
Yeah.
And I definitely like feel completely qualified to lead that.
That'd be cool.
But
yeah.
I think that's down the road.
Yeah. Or if it's something you really like, you could, I think
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea. We do guiding stuff around Mammoth, so yeah, it's fun.
But I think like a 6-week, 1,700-mile route to guide would be a pretty intense thing.
Yeah, you'd really have to like screen people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you do this?
No, can you do this? But can we do this together and not kill each other? Yeah.
Very true.
I've thought about that.
Okay, all right. So back to Mammoth. You drove up there. Did you leave the truck with your friend at his place?
No, he wasn't there at the time. I just left it at the Sherwin Lakes trailhead.
Really?
Yeah, the whole time.
Did you put like a note?
Yeah, I wrote a note. It's funny. I was reading this.
Okay.
It's called like The Book of Joy by Desmond Tutu, the
Yeah.
Dalai Lama, and I left that on the dash, and I said, "Peace and love to all. No valuables in the truck.
Wow.
Be back in 2 weeks."
Oh my god. Did you put your name?
And then I said Evan and then my phone number. Yeah.
Okay. And it was there when you got back.
And it was totally there when I got back. And then it was actually really funny. I got back and just slept in the truck at the trailhead. And some guy came to this trailhead, is this massive dirt parking lot, and was doing donuts at like midnight. Woke me up and started shooting rocks out. And then this rock hit my window right next to where my head was.
Aww.
And it was like, I just survived this crazy route.
Yeah.
And then I almost died from a rock from some just dickhead. It was so funny.
Oh wow! Yeah, I love stories like that. You're like, I've just done this thing.
Yeah,
like,
I just
leave
finished.
me alone.
Yeah, I just finished the Baja Divide this year. I rode home, and then that last day I was wearing sandals the whole time. Rode right over 2 rattlesnakes within like 10 miles of my house.
Oh god, crazy.
Luckily, didn't get struck. It was, it's so funny. Like, you kind of like get. in that headspace of like, I'm fine, I made it, and then that's when stuff always happens.
And then you get lax on stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so your prep going into it consisted of what? Just studying the maps?
I didn't even study. I downloaded the maps.
Oh my god. Onto what? Okay, that was going to be one of my questions.
On Gaia,
what computer?
so I put them on just my phone, just Gaia on my phone. Yeah, I don't actually use the cycling computer anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was like a post racing kind of screw this whole thing. Like sold my power meter, gave away my heart rate monitor, sold my computer, and never did any of that stuff again.
And so there is no public record of your ride. Like you didn't track any of it.
No, I didn't track it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as far as anybody knows, I totally faked it.
And you didn't bring an InReach?
I did bring an InReach, but I don't track with the InReach.
Okay, just like safety.
It's just in like my bag in case I need to hit that SOS button.
Yeah, because for that route, I would recommend people have some.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
I think in your thing it was like 50-50 cell coverage, which I would assume is probably right, but that other 50% where you're not like you get
pretty far out there. Yeah, you get pretty far.
Yeah. So. Okay, so you downloaded it to your phone, parked at the trailhead. Like, did you have a rough idea of where you wanted to stop, or you were just like, I got 2 weeks to do this, I'm gonna do it?
I had like 3 weeks to do it.
Okay.
And I had no idea how much time it was gonna take.
Okay.
And I heard like ballpark 2 weeks, so I was like, okay, I'll plan on like 2 weeks. I just grabbed all the.
Did Alan tell you like 2 weeks touring?
I don't know who told me that.
Okay.
That's like what I heard.
Okay.
And set off. Just grabbed all the random food I had in my truck.
Did you ride up to that, like where the route actually starts on the trail?
No, I just started at Sherwin Lake.
Okay, so you didn't get to go down the Mammoth Rock or anything, or did you?
That like last little bit of single track, or that first bit of single track.
Yeah.
That's what I ended with.
Oh, okay.
So I took that to Sherwin Lake.
I see.
Yeah, and so I just started the route like 10 miles into it.
Yeah. Okay, got it.
But that was a sick way to end it. That was a great descent.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. And then one of my questions, since you didn't really study it or have a plan of like, okay, I'm going to sleep here, here, and here, did you know that the towns were kind of on the route and that you could potentially sleep in a hotel? And did you ever do that?
I don't think I slept in a single hotel the whole time.
All camping stuff?
Yeah, it was all camping. My first night, I got to Tom's place, got some chicken fingers, and loaded up on some stuff. Yeah.
What time did you leave?
I started at like 4 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I literally drove to Mammoth, got on the bike, and then started at like 4.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
So did not cover a lot of ground the first day. Excuse me.
I was like, wow. Okay. Yeah. So Tom's place, did you like sleep around?
And then I camped like I think 50 yards down the road in like a little construction pullout.
Yes. Okay.
And it was so cold that night. It was like frosting like pretty heavily. I actually rode back and was like, hey, like, can I get some hot water for some tea? And they were like, oh my God, you're so needy.
They said that?
They said that to me. Like, this woman was so not cool about the whole thing.
And like not joking. Like,
no, she was like upset. It was because I came in and I was like, hey, like, can I plug in my phone? I needed to charge my phone.
Oh, okay.
And she was like, oh, like, our electricity wiring is all old and we could burn the whole place down if you want to charge your phone, but okay, plug it in over there. I was look, I'm sorry.
Wow.
I feel like this is kind of a regular thing to ask. And
You're like, welcome to the east side. Sorry.
Yeah. And then I came back and was like, can I get some hot water? She's like, oh, you're so needy.
Wow. Okay, sorry. Never mind.
Yeah, sorry. I'm on a personal journey here.
So you didn't, you didn't do Rock Creek yet. So
no, I hadn't done Rock Creek yet.
Okay,
yeah,
so then you did that in the morning.
I did that in the morning, which was super sick.
Yeah, and
really
the lower Rock Creek section is pretty. You kind of got to push a couple sections and get through.
Yeah. Amazing descent though.
This is October. You did it in October.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Beginning of October.
I think like first week.
Okay. I'm trying, because October, the nights are cold. So.
It was super cold. And like the whole thing is it got so exhausting, like wake up super cold, then take off all your clothes because then it gets really hot, and then start putting
the
like
extremes,
layering, just layer up, layer down, layer out, layer down.
Okay, so I have the route pulled up. So from there you get down through, and then at some point you come up whatever this campground is. Yeah, the Horton Creek campground.
Oh yeah, this is sick.
Okay, but
is
this
a great section.
water crossing,
Yeah.
how did you...
I just like kind of went through the bushes.
Okay, because this
tried
is
to
one
figure it out.
section I need to go and check because I feel like it's probably so screwed
I feel like
after
right now,
winter.
yeah. So I've actually been up in that area for like the last 2 weeks.
Oh.
And there's a lot of water flowing right now. They say it's like a
Right.
record flow rate.
Right. Yeah. Like, yeah, I've seen things where like throughout the day, Crowley will rise like a foot, just like
Whoa,
during.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Okay. So Horton Creek, when I did the first attempt of this, I wasted so much time trying to cross this creek because I was
really?
like, how the hell? I couldn't figure out the way, and there was like so much overgrowth.
Yeah.
But when you got to it, you're just like, I'm going.
I just
through
found
here.
like I camped under a tree and then was right next to the creek, and then I just took my shoes and socks off and just waded the creek.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I'm really curious how that section looks.
Mm-hmm.
So then after that, you get onto that main road.
Yeah, into
and
the
then,
buttermilks.
And then that's where that cow. Did you have to do that?
I
one?
did that. Oh, that was so dumb.
Yeah, it's right
And-
after that creek too.
And I talked to them. I talked to Alan about changing that.
Yeah.
And because that's just
I
a
know.
dumb
I know.
section.
Yeah. So, but you.
Because that road right there is so nice.
It's right, and it's right there.
It's
I was
right
like zooming
there.
in on the map. I'm like, why am I over here?
Yeah. I rode that cow path for about I think 500 yards, and I just took the field back to the road. I
Yeah,
was like,
that's
this
what
is
I did.
stupid.
That's what I did the second time when I did the 150 route. I was like, I'm not doing this again.
Yeah. So
Going through like just cow patties, also
Mm-hmm.
just poop everywhere. Yeah. So then you are going through the buttermilks and then making your way towards. We call it Hobbaggers Climb. It's that the climb that comes out of the south.
Yeah, that's a
the
pretty
South
good one.
Lake area.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you stop in between when you cross Horton Creek to there? Did you sleep at
Did
some
I
point, or
camp?
was that one day?
I wish I could tell you.
Okay.
I don't remember. honestly.
Okay, there's an RV park before this climb. Did you have to stop there potentially? You don't remember?
I don't remember
It's the
that.
Bishop Creek Lodge.
Yeah, the Bishop
And
Creek
then
Lodge.
this is like a super steep climb over what they call Coyote Flats.
Oh yeah, so I camped really high that night. Actually,
Okay.
I didn't want to. I thought I was gonna make it up
so
and
you made
over,
it pretty far. Okay.
and then I camped. I think at like 10,000 feet, and it was super cold.
Oh God. Okay, so at
Yeah.
some point you make it up there, and then you're just
Yeah,
somewhere on
and it
this.
was just like the sun went down, and I had nothing else to do. I was just like, here we go.
Water. At this point, is there enough around that you're filtering mostly?
Yeah, I
You're
was
not
filtering all
okay.
that,
Got
yeah.
it. You're not worried about like
No.
trying to buy
On
stuff.
the western side, or not, I got the western side of the route when you're kind of in the Sierra.
Yeah.
There's just so much water, especially right now.
Yeah, it's the whites that I think
Yeah,
everybody
I mean
gets
that's
nervous
the
about.
hard.
Yeah.
That's the really hard part of the route.
Okay, so I really like this section when you come into Coyote Flats and you're just like in this valley and it feels like you're on
Super
top of the
beautiful,
world.
Yeah. There's
Yeah,
the glaciers there
Yeah.
in the distance.
it's amazing. I think everybody needs to just like get up on that plateau at some
Yeah.
point.
That'd be a good day ride. And then that descent down into Big Pine. Yeah.
Rowdy,
Unbelievable.
rowdy.
Unbelievable.
Rowdy.
I had to pull over like 5 times to let my brakes cool down.
Yeah, I know.
It was
Okay,
crazy.
so in the 150 South route, it doesn't go up Coyote Flats. You kind of just from the Buttermilks wind down towards Bishop. So when I did the 150, we kind of just I went into Bishop and then you make your way up from there. So you don't do any of Big Pine into the Whites at all. But when I tried to do the 500 route, the one time I got as far as I did, it was only to Big Pine. So I got to the top there and was like, I just need to get down this mountain because when I was at the top, this like lightning storm was starting
Oh,
to
no way.
form. But it was the scariest
Yeah.
like weather situation I've
Yeah.
ever been in, where I was
Weather
like, I
changes
just need to get
fast.
down this mountain.
That's an
So-
awful feeling.
Yeah, and at that point, that's the highest you'd been. So there was no weather problem for you,
No,
just being
I had
cold.
zero weather the entire
Yeah.
time. It was just blue skies the entire time.
Yeah,
I don't
early
think I saw a
October's
cloud.
Good. Okay. Yeah, I think that week, that first week of October, is kind of what I'm thinking to try for this year, just because it's, even though it's cold, it's better than some of the highs in the valley in
Yeah.
September. So
Yeah, I mean, what in Bishop right now it's like 110 degrees.
yeah, it's dumb.
I wouldn't go there right now.
Yeah. Okay, so you come down into Big Pine. Do you do anything there? Gas station at
It
that
was
corner?
funny actually at Big Pine. I spent probably 6 hours just in the pizzeria there.
Okay.
Killing the middle of the day because it was so hot.
Oh, Oh, you were just hanging out.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was like, I think it was almost 100 degrees that day.
Yeah.
Down there. And so I just hung out inside, drank a whole bunch of water, ate a bunch of food, went to the park, napped in the shade.
Oh, nice.
And then like loaded up a little bit. And then I did the climb in the dark. I left at sunset and then rode it. Like,
that's nice.
Probably till 2 a.m.
Okay.
And then camped at a trailhead and then just kept riding.
Right before the dirt turn?
Probably 3/4 of the way up the pavement.
Okay.
Just camped on the side of the road. And then, I mean,
Did you get through that little, like, random Grand Canyon looking section?
Yeah, that was cool. I mean, super eerie at night.
Oh,
though.
I was going to say.
And so, like, going through by yourself,
Yeah.
I was like, I took all my clothes off, basically.
Yeah.
I was just in my chamois.
Okay.
And just, it felt so good. It was, like, such a beautiful night. Like, no moon, totally
but I'm sure
dark.
as soon as your lights hit that, you're like, where am I?
Yeah, but, like, I did it without a light, too.
Oh, what?
It was great. Well, you're going uphill, you're going 4 miles an hour.
True. Okay, yeah.
And so
just by the light of the moon.
It was like this really, no, but there was no moon either.
Oh
it
my
was like
God.
pitch black in there. It was this really interesting experience. Wow. And so rode that.
You're just like following the white line kind of
Yeah, it was just kind of like, well, you're on a road. Like you can tell where
Yeah.
the road goes. It's like there's enough light you can do that. And then I'll hear a car and then turn my lights on. And then like car passes, turn it back off.
Okay. Yeah, because there aren't very many people on that road. That it's like a weird way to
so
get to
quiet,
Death Valley.
yeah.
So yeah, like I'm sure you didn't have to deal with a lot of that.
That was a beautiful ride, though. I'll never forget that climb.
So you slept on the side, woke up, you go up the rest of it, and then you turn left onto the dirt.
Yeah.
And then you're in the whites. And that section, I've ridden it separately, where I've parked at that dirt turn and ridden all the way towards into the Bishop descent. What did you think about that?
This section was so freaking cool.
Did you, from there to Bishop, how many days?
I think 1.5 days.
Okay,
Maybe
so you
2?
you did this bottom part like pretty
I did it
quick.
pretty fast. Yeah, I was definitely.
Okay, so you slow down later. We'll get there.
I don't even. And here's what's crazy is I don't think I could have gone any faster than I did.
Yeah.
And I still took 15 days.
Yeah.
And what's the record, like 4?
5.
That's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine doing that 3 times as fast.
Yeah, right. Yeah, just because everything about it.
Yeah, because I feel like I was riding just about once I got going, I was probably doing 8-hour days every day.
Yeah.
And then I took a half a day off in Bishop, a half a day off in Big Pine. That was it.
Okay. Yeah, you're scaring me for how long I think it's gonna
like
take.
I just don't think you can go much faster than that. I cannot believe they did it in 5 days.
Yeah.
So phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, I started when I did the attempt at the 500. I started at like 9 p.m. from Mammoth, and then it was probably like 10 a.m., 11 a.m. the next day that I quit in Big Pine. So I only rode for like 12 hours, but I did that part pretty quick. But yeah, we'll get into that. My plan, the first time I made a plan for this was to get from Mammoth to Bishop in one push.
Whoa.
I know.
Whoa.
So this is part of what I wanted to get from you is, and this is also pretty close to what the record time was kind of, it's to town was kind of how we did it in order to do it in 5 days.
And then they're sleeping in hotels and then not carrying guys.
Or no, he was camping.
Oh,
yeah. But it's the safety net kind of thing. You could sleep in the town if you wanted to. But, okay, so like day and a half to get to Bishop, which means at some point you slept in the whites?
I did sleep in the whites, yeah. And then I don't know if you read the story I wrote for the journal.
Oh, I don't think so.
Yeah, that came out in the journal number 9.
Okay, it's printed?
Yeah,
okay.
it's in print. That's the hard part. Now you can't really get them.
Yeah.
But so it was like I slept right at the top of the whites, like on this little peak right before the descent.
Yeah.
And just woke up to like the most amazing sunrise on the Sierras. That was a very stunning moment.
Yeah. That means that you did that pavement climb. You kind of go past the campground. And
went past the campground.
Okay.
Got some water from some nice people there.
Yeah.
Because there was no water at the campground.
No, I know.
Like, are you kidding me?
I know. I've looked at that
ridiculous.
before. Like that, and that's why people say the white section is what makes people quit this.
Yeah.
Because depending on the time of the year and how much water is there, you could just like run out.
Yeah.
Essentially.
And because I don't think that stream that they know that might be flowing was not flowing when I went there.
Oh, that's good to
I
know.
don't think there was any water.
I'm sure. Yeah, might be.
But there were
different
people
this
at the
year.
campground that were super nice and gave me some water.
Oh,
And then I hung out
nice.
with them for a while.
Cool.
One guy, he worked for SeaWorld, and we had a really long conversation about SeaWorld and how it's been like vilified by the public, and yet he like really believes in their work.
Oh.
And so it was a really interesting conversation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sitting on the whites talking about SeaWorld.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just that's
I love
life.
it. I love how conversations like that happen with
Yeah.
people that you meet out in the middle of nowhere.
Yep.
Okay, so this descent for people that are interested in this route.
Oh, this descent is the sickest. This is
Yeah.
the best part of the route.
Yeah, and so people who live in Bishop will just shuttle this.
Yeah.
Like they'll have people drive up and drop them off at that turn and just send it down this. At
would
any
love to do
point
that.
were you like amazed that was there? Because the first time I did it, I was like, how does nobody know about this?
I was like, how did Alan find this?
Oh yeah, that too, yeah.
And then like, who cut this trail?
Right?
That trail is so good.
Yeah, and it flows
So
and
flowy.
I think
Nice shale.
some motos come down it. But yeah, the one thing about the whites that surprised me was that shaly rock that was like the size of dinner plates that you're riding over.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Did you do that during the day or during the night?
I did that all during the day.
Okay.
In the light, yeah.
Yeah, that stuff to me, I'm just like, that section, you're like, how is this trail even here?
It
Like,
was
how does
so
even,
fun,
I
though.
know,
Oh,
and it's such
loved
good
that.
single track.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. If anybody's interested in this, like, even just, park in Big Pine and do a loop from.
Yeah, if you got some
there.
good friends and you can shuttle like Lower Rock Creek.
Yeah.
And then that's that single track. What's the name of that single track? Do you know?
This one into Bishop,
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know if it has a name,
if you
but
could do that, that's all you need to do.
yeah, exactly. And then once you kind of swerves around, then all of a sudden you're on that section that you can see from Bishop. It's like where all the moto trails are,
Yeah.
and you go past a couple mine shafts. Did you have to stop a couple times to let your brakes cool on that?
No.
Oh, okay.
That descent, it's not steep,
Okay.
It's so flowy, you can like just keep your speed.
Yeah. The bottom part is the part that gets me where
The
you
bottom
get
part's
right,
sick.
yeah.
Yeah, you're just like, all right, here we go.
I know, send it.
Well, I'm gonna carry my momentum straight to town.
Yeah. Okay, so how is your gear at this point? Did you have to go to the bike shop in Bishop, or are you fine at this point in time?
I did go to the bike shop in Bishop.
Oh.
Yeah. I forget what for though. I think a new tube. Oh, that's right. My first day, I like double flatted,
Oh.
and then had to patch it, and then had to run a tube on my 29 plus the whole time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you
Brand new
went.
tires too.
Did you meet Chris at Arrowhead?
I met somebody.
Okay. Yeah, it was a while ago. Yeah. Yeah, Chris is the owner of Arrowhead.
Yeah, I
and
think
so
I met
we
him then, yeah.
we run our Bishop camps out of his shop.
Oh,
and
nice.
so he loves riding around that area. He probably knows it better than anyone that lives out there, but yeah, super cool that you went to go there. I mean, I don't think Big Pine even has an option, so Bishop
No.
is really your only choice.
It's your only option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the whole route. There's
That's all you get.
So did you get anything else extra knowing that was kind of your only, or did you
I think
just
I just got like a tube.
okay,
and
and then
maybe-
carried on.
Yeah.
And you didn't sleep there.
No, I did not. No. Where did I sleep that night? I think I rolled just out of town, like at sunset, and then camped like north, maybe a mile or two,
Okay, yeah, up into the
like Fish Slough.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah, there's a
that's
lot of
where
good
I
pullouts there.
Yeah, there's some nice stuff.
Did you get food in Bishop?
I hung out for actually like a whole rest of the, I think I got in at like 11.
Oh, another hot afternoon.
Yeah, hot
thing?
afternoon, hung out in the park, and then I met these two like total dirtbag climbers, and we played frisbee for like 4 hours. It was super fun.
Nice.
They like were living in their van. They came over to talk to me, and they were like, "What are you doing? This is cool." They're like, "I want to try this."
Yeah.
And then we played frisbee with this frisbee that they use as a dinner plate.
Yeah.
Because they're living out of their van, and he had just eaten pancakes out of it, and so it had syrup all in
Seriously?
it, and it was really sticky, and it was funny.
Yeah, the dirtbag lifestyle in Bishop is a real thing with the climbers.
Culture,
Oh,
yeah, there's some culture there.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so then you're making your way up Fish Slough. You turn a left at some point into, I call it like the Star Wars zone of the Tablelands. I don't know if you did it during the day or not, but all of a sudden the stone just turns white.
Yeah,
Everything,
yeah.
and you go through like,
It's super beautiful.
yeah, that section where you're like, why is everything white right here?
Yeah, yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah.
Cool rides. I like
and
some
then
of the photos I took there.
you keep going. There's like a little bit of a steeper hike-a-bike section after the power lines, and then you drop in towards Benton Crossing.
And then we did a route mod there too, because previously it was going through that wilderness research area.
Oh.
And so we had to reroute around that because you can't publish a route because it's illegal to ride through that.
Past Casa Diablo?
Ooh.
Or like, so this is the section with like the the white rock, and then you come up this. Oh, I think I know where it happened.
Should I pull out my Gaia? Oh wow, it was already there. Do.
Are you sure it was there and not after Benton Crossing?
It's right here. It's just next. It was to get around the. What is that area? Yeah, it's right. It's Casa Diablo. That's actually where you are.
Oh. I wonder.
Yeah, it's the Casa Diablo Wilderness Study Area. And so if you go right through the power lines, you ride like the Sandy power line double track.
Yeah.
And then you stay on the boundary of it, so you don't actually enter that because you're not allowed to do mechanized transit through a wilderness area.
There was a hike-a-bike, right? Did you do the...
I didn't do the hike-a-bike there, no. You just ride the whole thing.
Okay, so maybe that's the part that you modified it to. Interesting. I gotta look at that. Okay, and then you descend down, you're on Chicago Canyon Road, and then you get towards the pavement, Benton Crossing. There's a refill there that's like...
Oh, is that pond?
Yeah, that's like kind of a trickle.
Super gross.
Yeah.
I don't think I've refilled there. No, I think I just carried really heavy out of Bishop.
Okay, and you're just going at that point all the way. And then you climb Deer Springs, and then you are into the Glass Mountains.
This was an amazing section,
I know. Okay, so from Benton Crossing, let's say all the way to the 120 before you get towards Mono, how many days did that take you?
Gosh, maybe a day or two? I don't remember. I don't
Okay. Because then if that's, you're hauling at that point. Like
maybe.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
Where's Benton Crossing?
It's like the one you're hardly on it. So it's like a one little section, then you turn on here, and then you're not on pavement until you cross the 120 here. So there's like the two main little sections of pavement. Before.
Yeah, I do remember that. I remember I think I did 4 days between resupply there. So I did 4 days between Bishop and then what's that Bridgeport you got into?
That helps, yeah. Fascinating. Okay. So the Glass Mountains at that time of year, was it all yellow?
It was
like
it was super dry. Yeah, the aspens were really yellow. Okay. Yeah, that was really beautiful.
Cool. Yeah,
I didn't actually expect that because my time in the Sierra previously, like I didn't recognize the fact that there were aspens there.
Oh yeah,
just didn't register. Yeah, like there's trees here.
Unless you see them yellow.
Yeah, I'd never really been there in the fall, so that was really special.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed that.
There's a climb as you're getting towards the aspens that is super steep and hike-a-bikey. Did you have to push up that?
Yeah, I did. I remember that quite.
That part sucks.
Explicitly.
Yeah. But then it's fun after that because then you're like weaving around through these trees.
And you're on some like beautiful trail.
Yeah, and there's one campground that you go through. My guess is you might have stayed there. I know a lot of people that go through the Glass Mountains usually stop at that one. But yeah, so at this point, the temperatures are cooler. You're not really like in the desert anymore.
Yeah, it's nice.
Getting through there.
I remember having some really nice camp spots.
Yeah.
I remember one night literally camped right on the road though.
Oh.
I just like you're like going through kind of this canyon and then it's just all that brush.
Yeah.
It's like sagebrush.
Yeah.
And so you can't get really off that road.
Yeah.
And then there was like a fork and it was like there was a small plot of sand in the road that people weren't driving over really.
Oh God.
And so I just camped right in this road.
Oh my God.
And then put my bike out so nobody would run over my tent. They'd run over my bike first.
Wow.
And nobody killed me.
Oh, did anybody come by?
2 people stopped.
Oh, wow.
They were like, "Are you okay?"
Oh, yeah.
I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, I'm alive, thanks.
Do you have any chocolate?
So that is the extent of my scouting. It ends there.
Oh, yeah.
So I've done all the Glass stuff, but I've never done around Mono and then into Bridgeport. But my boyfriend has. And his recounting of after Mono and climbing towards Bodhi was that it sucks.
Yeah, that's a hard section for
Okay.
sure. And then you get into Bodhi, and it's just like you've just gone through kind of hell in a way.
Yeah.
And you're just out there, and you haven't seen people in a
Yeah.
couple days, and then you drop
then you're
into
in a-
Bodhi, and it's literally like
trip.
tourism,
Yeah.
like adventure tourism,
Ghost
kind of
town,
like Jeep
yeah.
Central, selfies, like everybody from France is there for some reason, and they're speaking French, and like, oh, you're on a bicycle, oui. That was an awful French accent. I'm sorry.
That is true. The contrast of
It's
like,
just like, whoa.
you have been alone for so long, and then you roll up into that.
Into
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's cool to see this like angle on history, and the ghost town is interesting.
Yeah.
But the people watching is fascinating,
Oh,
and just
sure.
and then you can't buy anything there. They have like almost no food, water, no food,
There's
and
nothing.
snacks.
Yeah, no.
They have a water fountain.
Yes.
Which I totally, ran shop. I
Yes.
showered in their water fountain. And like I remember French tourists being really grossed out
I'm
at
sure
that.
they're probably just like, what is this guy doing?
Wow.
Okay, so from the 120 before Bodhi, a lot of people see the wild horses through there. Is
I
that
did,
where you
yeah.
saw
I
them?
saw quite a few,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I saw your pictures, and I
Those
was wondering
were
if
so
that was
beautiful.
it. Yeah.
And then I remember cowboy camping out there. It was really, really beautiful.
Oh, nice. So you just
Yeah.
slept like...
Straight on the dirt.
Okay, the other thing that sucks about that section that I've heard horror stories of is the sand. So,
Yeah, I didn't have many issues with sand.
okay, so what size tires did you ride?
I was running 29.3.
Okay.
Yeah.
And to 700s? Or, yes, 29.
Yeah. So-
I guess.
wrong,
Yes.
wrong standard.
Yes, okay. And... Okay, wow. So no real issues pedaling through.
Not through that. No,
Okay.
that really wasn't where my issues were.
Okay, nice. And that hike bike towards Bodhi, were you like expecting to hike as much as you did there?
I didn't expect anything. Like, I
Yeah,
was going
yeah.
into this totally blind. I had never ridden out in that part,
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. I was just taking it however it
Yeah,
came.
but okay. Then at some point, are you like, is this even right?
Yeah, for sure. You're just like, who did this?
Why
Yeah,
am I walking?
Why am I here?
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
There's a lot of that.
I just want to make sure because like that's
But that's not the section that's really bad. Like the
Okay.
hike-a-bike gets a lot worse later.
Towards Patterson.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So you have this existential crisis at Bodhi, and then
It's not really an
I
that's
just-
not no, the existential crisis had already coming on.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I had already been
Now
through
you're
about
just- now
3
you're just
by
on the
Bodhi.
trip,
Yeah. Now we're just like I'm along for this ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you drop into Bridgeport. What do you do in Bridgeport?
Oh man, I hang out in
Yeah.
Bridgeport. I like Bridgeport.
Yeah,
There's the
nice.
burger barn there.
Yes.
Which is so good. I think I totally wrote that in like the write up. Like, need to go to Burger Barn. I think I ate there 4 times.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
I think I got into town for lunch.
yeah.
Then hung out in the park and like napped for a couple
Oh, and
hours.
then went back.
And then went for dinner. And then camped at the hot springs. And then came back for breakfast.
Oh, so you stayed at this travertine one?
Yeah, the Travertine Hot Springs.
Oh,
Super
cool.
beautiful.
So that you did a little detour just to go up there. And
Yeah, for sure. Totally,
Did you know it
totally
was
worth doing.
there?
Yeah, I had heard about it, and then some people were talking about it, and you can camp pretty close by. Not close by enough that you can walk,
Okay.
but like you ride maybe 5 minutes from the Burger Barn, maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You can camp, and then you pack up, and then you ride about 2 minutes to the hot springs, maybe 5.
Oh.
And then
Nice.
soaked in the hot springs for a little bit,
Nice.
took a little recover, and then I went back actually to the Burger Barn, and then I met this guy who was really cool who was hiking the PCT.
Okay.
And then we just spent some time, had breakfast together at the Burger Barn. We were chilling for about 2 hours, and then this guy pulls up on a bike tour from Sweden.
Oh.
He's Swedish and then riding Alaska to Argentina.
Whoa.
And he was just riding by. And so he
What?
sat down, the 3 of us, here's
Only on a bike, like just
yeah, just on a bicycle, yeah. And so it was,
a road bike.
it was like a kind of like a hybrid
Okay,
kind of
okay.
thing with a roll off and whatnot. He had panniers, but like a kind of a bike
That
packing
really
setup.
puts your trip in a context,
Well,
right? Where
and,
you're like,
and so it was interesting. Like, here's a guy who's backpacking on foot,
Yeah.
Canada to Mexico, multiple months through
Yeah.
hiking. Here's a guy riding for years,
Yeah.
and then here's me just out for 2 weeks. And so it was like these 3 very different perspectives on adventure.
Yeah.
And then right when we were leaving, pulled up this guy who was like in his 60s on one of those Bike Friday alpacas. I don't know if you know what they are. It's like a 20-inch folding touring bike.
Okay.
And you
like
know,
the little wheels.
tiny little wheel with like little panniers. Just this old guy with this, you know, dorky helmet. It was super funny. He was really cool. And he was just like, yeah, I just get out for the weekend and go bike touring a little bit. And so now we had this other degree and just the 4 of us, like, it was really fun. It was really refreshing.
How do you walk away from those conversations? You're like
super jazzed, really excited.
But like, okay, see you never? Like, or do you exchange
You exchange some social media,
okay,
and I actually,
sometimes.
that one guy who's the PCT hiker, we actually talk a decent amount on social media now. I really liked him.
Yeah.
He was really nice.
Yeah.
So definitely an element of see you never, but then also like maybe see you soon.
But if there's like a connection, you sometimes.
And that guy who was going south was going to do the Baja Divide, and I was going to go do the Baja Divide, and I did it backwards to meet the riders. And so I was like, bro, I might see you in a couple months.
Did you?
I did not see him, no. It was funny, and then like a couple days later I was riding, and then this lady pulled up in this truck. She was like, hey, how are you? Good to see you again. And I was like, huh? I don't know who you are. And she's like, yeah, you're from Sweden. You're going to Argentina. I was like, no, but I know who you're talking about.
Different white guy.
Yeah. I know. We all look the same.
Oh, that's so funny. You're like, no, but I met him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was cool. I really liked him.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I think one thing that you do a great job of is connecting with the other humans that you see out there. Like,
honestly, that's all I care about.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like at your bike packing stuff, a lot of the things you talk about and post about is really that like human side of the adventure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like on a more broad scale, like Caldera was a very interesting experience for me because it was very unhumane. It was very solo.
Yeah.
I was by myself.
Yeah.
I had just been doing this project with other people.
Right.
And then like, you know, my experience with bike packing is more of like from a touring perspective, I use a bike as like a probe into society is kind of how I call it.
Yeah.
I like going into these random places and then being like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Let's hang out.
Yeah.
And then like getting to meet people through that. And I'm very much like a people person. I like to talk way too much. And, you know, Caldera was probably my first and maybe only just pure bike packing, like slog. Hardest route I've ever done. Like only time I've ever done anything that's just like designed just to hurt you. And it was interesting, and so I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I'm not itching to do another thing like that though right now.
Got it. So do you feel like at that point, are you really cherishing those moments where you do run into people?
I definitely love that talk. And then I also like get a lot out of just being out in nature, and I was trying to spend some time just out in the forest, and that's also a beautiful part of that.
Yeah.
That route.
So this next section is probably the one that scares me the most, getting up Patterson.
Yeah, this is crazy.
So from Bridgeport to Walker, do you remember how long that took you?
Oh, like 2 hours. I had a ripping tailwind.
No. Bridgeport to like
to Walker.
Up,
never mind.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. That asphalt section was really fast, and then the Walker, Patterson is between there.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that would have been like 3 days, I think. Yeah.
Okay. So you get to the base of the climb and
I get to the base of the climb super fast.
Yeah.
And then I think I left Bridgeport in the afternoon and then had a ripping tailwind, and then...
So, like, do you know that you're coming up on, like, the biggest...
I have no idea what's coming up. I have literally zero... I think...
Okay. You're not even looking at a profile you don't know. It's this ridiculous...
I know that there's a climb coming, but, like, look at the profile. Like, you can't tell Patterson's that much gnarlier. Like, it's just another bump.
True.
And then... You know, there's like the whole thing in the route guide. It's like 3 days suggested or something like that. And so I just packed 3 days of food, had no idea what was coming. And then, I hit the base of that thing and was just like, oh, okay, here we go. Oh, this is kind of hard. And then about 2 hours later, like, oh, this is really hard. And I thought I was going to make it up and over in one day.
Right.
And I didn't think I was going to have to camp high.
Yeah.
And because the night prior, I was really cold at the base.
Oh, God.
At like, you know, it's like 7,500 feet there.
Yeah.
And then so I was starting to get a little nervous because I was going so slow and realized I would have to camp probably 2/3 of the way up.
Yeah.
And I camped, I think, at 10,000, 12,000 feet that night, maybe 11. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so cold. Well, actually, no, it was funny. It was so cold that I way over prepared, and I just bought a new can of gas in Bridgeport,
Okay.
for my jet boil.
Yeah.
And so I boiled 3 liters of water. I
Nice.
slept right next to a river, and put them in my tent and just zipped down, put all my clothes on, and I woke up about an hour later just sweating like
God.
crazy.
Yeah.
Which is actually the big problem because now you're
then
wet.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I got really cold after that. So.
Yeah. Was your hair that long?
Hair was pretty long back
Okay,
then. Yeah, I don't
yeah.
think this long.
Yeah. That's the hard part for me always is when my hair gets wet.
Yeah.
And you're just screwed.
Yeah.
So you're partway up Patterson. You're like, I'm still not even up there
You're
yet.
just like, this sucks. Like, this is just awful. There's a photo I took of just flipping off the climb.
Nice.
I was just like, I was so angry.
Because you're pushing.
You cannot ride this.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And it sounds dramatic to be like, oh, you can't ride this climb. It's too hard.
Mm-hmm.
It just is.
You can.
It just is.
It's not dramatic. I know.
If I was to go back, I don't know if you've seen it, but that company Restrap makes a backpacking harness.
Okay.
It's like a thing that you put on your top tube that then turns into a backpack straps.
Okay.
I would 100% buy that.
Okay.
Because then you can just put your bike on your back.
Oh,
and then
yeah,
just carry
instead of
as if it's a backpack instead of
okay.
pushing it. And then I would have done that. I would have brought trekking poles and hiking, like trail runners. I 100% would do that. Wow. Because like if you get like a tarp tent that you're gonna run trekking poles off anyways,
yeah.
that's totally worth carrying.
Oh, I see. You can dual purpose things.
Totally dual purpose those.
Yeah.
And then get like just a light pair of trail runners. That would have made my life so much better than my mountain bike shoes.
My plan is to ride like the one of like their traily looking mountain bike shoe that is more walkable in. Was
Yeah.
yours like a stiff sole?
No, it's like a walkable. It was
Oh.
a 510
But still not
with
good
a
enough?
clip in it.
Okay.
I mean, I would have loved to have my trail runners though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just because of
It's a 2-day hike.
yeah, because
You're going backpacking.
I know, but I'm curious why the shoe wasn't good enough. Like just because you want something
It's
lighter.
you just want something that's like comfier.
Yeah.
For 10 hours of hiking,
yeah.
more or less.
Yeah.
It's a 2-day hike, You're going backpacking.
Right. Okay, so at what time of day do you get to the flag?
Ooh, probably like noon.
Okay.
I'm like right there. I'm right below it, and then this whole crew of like 8 side by sides just goes blowing by me with their coolers and their country music playing.
Did you say hi?
Of course I waved, but
yeah.
just like and then they get up to the flag, they take their pictures, and they're gone by the time I've climbed another 10 meters. It's just like
wait.
Yeah.
So that
Do you have beer?
yeah. So that flag up there, I don't know if you know this, but a lot of the like 4x4 clubs and all this, they keep a record of like the flag, and they have extra flags in like a box that's at the base of it. I don't know if you noticed.
Yeah,
but
I opened the box. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was
yeah,
looking
and
for like
they-
a logbook, but I didn't see one.
Oh yeah, no, they just keep the flags
Yeah.
there so that they can replace them when it gets torn up. But kind of cool. I don't know. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've heard that this descent into Walker.
So fun.
But how was it after the fire? Because
It was
you
fine,
might be
yeah.
one of 3 people that have maybe done that since the fire. It was okay.
I don't think I had any issues.
Like you found the trail fine.
Yeah, I found the trail.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I
That's
remember
good
I
to
met
know.
some people on dirt bikes, and they were like, "And this, you're not allowed to ride dirt bikes where we were."
Oh.
And they were like, "I was like, yeah, you like aren't supposed to be here." And they're like, "Oh, come on, I live here. I've been doing this for 40 years. I can do whatever I want."
Oh, really?
I was
You
like,
had one of those
Screw
moments.
you, dude. Wow. Because he was like tearing it up. It was so
I was gonna
blown
say
up.
you're the one that's the reason why we can't have nice things.
Yeah,
then, buddy.
for sure. Yeah, I was not stoked on that guy.
Wow.
But like, what do you do in that situation?
Yeah. You can't. Or yeah, you're like okay.
I'm not gonna jump into a fist fight.
Right. Yeah. With the guy.
Oh yeah,
That's got some
I have zero authority.
motor behind him.
Mhm.
So you come into Walker, and what do you do there?
Go to Walker Burger.
Okay.
I was going through a really big
Yeah.
burger kick at the time. I don't know why. I was just like hooked on burgers, and this is a sick burger route. Like
yeah.
good burgers in like really good in Bridgeport, really good in Walker, really good in Mammoth, decent in Big Pine.
That's true. I never thought you could. It's like the Caldera burger tour.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I was doing. I was
How
just
much
there to
time
eat.
did you spend there?
I think I was only there for like 2 hours.
Okay.
I think I waited a little bit more of the heat off.
Yeah.
And then actually going that descent into Walker, which is a really crazy descent. Oh, that's the section with the fire.
Yes.
Yeah, it was interesting, but you could totally find the trail.
Okay.
It was easy.
Okay.
It was just spooky.
Okay.
Like all these like dead trees
yeah.
everywhere. It was
Yeah.
it was really interesting, but it had already started to grow back.
Okay.
There was a lot of like greenery on the base of the floor.
Yeah.
I don't know the scientific term.
Right. Yeah.
And
the ground.
The terra firma.
Right. Yeah.
And I guess probably this year it's gonna be really green.
Yeah.
That would be a beautiful section to go see, actually.
Yeah.
But then going through there, I broke my rear brake cable, and I didn't bring a spare brake cable. And so then I ran a shifter cable from my rear brake, which then worked for another 3 days. And then I had to finish the route without a rear brake.
So just mechanical? It wasn't
Yeah,
hydraulic?
I had mechanical brakes, yeah.
That's lucky. Did you know that? Like, that's an easier fix? Is that kind of...
That's why I run mechanical brakes, yeah. Because then if you break a cable, you just put a new cable in.
Right,
But I didn't
you're
bring
not-
another brake cable. And I also didn't bring another set of brake pads, and I went through a whole set of pads. That was my other issue.
At that point or late?
A little bit later, like before the drop down into Wheeler Junction.
Yeah, if there's any route in the world where you need an extra set of brake pads.
Yeah. Well, I honestly now I think
I
you just
know.
need a new set of pads for every route in the world.
True,
Yeah.
true.
No, because I totally glazed my pads over on that descent down into Big Pine.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that long, and I was running 180, 160 mechanical brakes on a pretty heavy steel fat bike.
Yeah, fully loaded.
Totally
yeah.
under braked.
So, explain the shifter cable to me.
So I used a shifter cable instead of a brake cable because I didn't have a brake cable. But a shifter cable is smaller in diameter and has a smaller like.
But you had a
head.
spare of that.
I did
okay.
bring a spare one of
I thought you
those.
meant like you took it out
No
of
way,
your... Okay,
no,
okay.
no. I would rather have
Like,
shifting than brakes.
Decide. Big
Yeah.
one.
But then that broke too, so I think I rode like 4 days with just my front brake.
Holy crap! After that, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which was another element.
Yeah. So in 2020, this was when I decided that I wanted to do the Caldera 500, and the 2 days maybe before I was planning to start, Adrian, who was the first guy to ever finish it, messaged me and was like, have you looked at the fires in Walker?
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, they had just started, and I was like, well, it'll probably be fine. And then we drove up to Walker, and they were, like, evacuating, and that's when all those fires happened, yeah. So I didn't even get to start my first attempt at doing this because of all the wildfire closures. And then once you leave Walker and go up that next canyon, during that fire, that all went up in flames.
That
so
burned too?
Yeah.
No, I couldn't see anything from
Okay.
that one. That was a beautiful stretch.
That's good to know that that's that's healthy. Yeah, because we drove all the way out here to check, and like, yeah, it was gnarly. Like all the because there was fires behind towards Patterson, there was fires ahead, like all the way into that canyon. So that's good to know that you didn't run into anything. But in that next section, coming towards the 108 and the pass, you go by that like military training.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, that was
Did
crazy.
you know that was there?
No, okay, so I was riding that canyon. First, the
Yeah.
night prior on the road, I
Yeah.
met another really interesting bike tourer
Okay.
from Germany who was riding in Crocs on a Walmart bike, all homemade panniers,
No.
riding for 6 months down to like Central America. He was interesting, and then we talked for a while on the side of the road.
Walmart bike.
And jean cutoffs. And then he works in Germany at a call center. he was such an interesting dude.
What?
And so we talked for a while, and then
I would have been like, I don't believe you.
yeah, well, you
But
have
here
to,
you
right?
are,
Here you
but
are. Like, no, what else would you be doing if you got it this far? And then so I kept riding into that canyon, and then I camped yet again right on the side of the road, like
Okay.
within arm's distance of the road, because I didn't see any cars there that night. I didn't assume there would be heavy traffic.
Yeah.
And then in the morning at like 5 a.m., 10 fully loaded, like huge, like passenger military trucks full of like 50 people in the back of it, 50 soldiers in the back of each truck.
Yeah.
So like I think 1,000 soldiers go by me, and I'm just in my little tent on the side of the road. And it was crazy to wake up to this.
I'm sure you were like, what is going on?
But they were all like, what is this dude doing out here? And
Yeah.
then so I got on my bike and kept riding, and then I just met them up there, and one guy pulled me over, and I started talking to him, and he led the thing, and they were doing like war game preparation. They're basically doing a glorified paintball tournament up there. So I don't know. That was interesting.
That's how close to the highway are you? Like This was before you get
I
towards...
probably rode only 2 miles up the canyon before I camped because I left Walker pretty late.
Okay, so you're not even at Sonora Pass yet.
Yeah. No.
Oh, okay.
No,
This
yeah.
was like early on that section.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was sick.
Yeah, so you were like here-ish, outside of Walker.
Yeah, right.
And then I don't know if you looked at it later, but this is where the training center is.
Oh, yeah.
So if you were to come either up or down the 108, you kind of see it off to the side. It looks like this big, like, weird university-looking, like, dorms and stuff on the side of the road. But yeah, I'm always curious about those stories because they go do crazy shit out there, and you're just out there. And
sure, yeah.
Did you see any of it, or they were just like running around?
It was just 1,000 people sitting in the forest waiting.
Seriously?
They were just like waiting to deploy, and they were all hanging out, and they had like another couple hours.
Did you
of
take
waiting
a photo of that?
No, they didn't want to. They didn't want me to photograph them. Yeah, they were like, no, this is
Top
secret.
secret.
It's not top secret. It's low secret,
Man,
but secret enough.
that's the photo I would have liked to see.
Yeah,
That
I
must
did
have
not
been
photograph
such
that.
a trip.
It was just like, what?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so
I
cool.
definitely asked that guy. I was like, oh, can I take a picture of you? He's like, I'd prefer not to, sir.
You're like,
My boss
Roger.
would be upset. All right.
Yeah, Marine Corps Mountain Warfare Training Center.
Yeah, like we are very different here. We're here in the same place for 2 very different reasons.
Hell, yeah.
You're working on killing people. I am working on finding myself.
Yeah. Yeah. They do a lot of like winter training stuff
I bet,
too.
yeah.
Okay, so you get to the highway at that point. Is that like all in a day and a half ish?
Man, I
At this point is probably
it's just a blur.
Yeah. Okay. It's the one like fun pavement descent. That's why I'm curious what you thought of it because it must have been fun.
And then you go to Buckeye after that?
Yeah.
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 That's a good little descent. I do remember that.
Okay.
Oh, wait, no. That's like you get to the top and then you had that really ripping descent.
Yeah.
That's where I ran out of brakes.
Okay.
And I was literally walking down that descent because I was like, I can't stop my bike. And I was just shoving my foot in my tire like the BMX days, you know? And I was destroying my shoe. It was like smelling like burnt rubber and I didn't know what to do.
Okay, so not as fun as
it was not fun at all. I was actually really terrified. And then I camped in some campground that was closed. I was the only person there. And then I like had no idea what to do. And then I figured out how to shim my brakes that night in the campground so that I could keep going.
Oh, wow.
But so I like literally like cut an aluminum cam to like shim my brakes more to then keep wearing down these pads. And then, yeah, I don't know. That was it. Finished on that.
Okay, so at this point for everybody, this is mile 350. And this route is 475. So are you like keeping track of that? You're like,
I'm almost done.
Yeah.
I'm like, nothing will stop me now.
Okay.
Stupid brakes.
Yeah. That's commitment.
And like by then you've made it through the hard stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Like even when you look at the profile, yeah, there's like some stuff coming up, but
you're past the hard stuff. If you make it past Patterson, you should finish this route.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's for everyone listening.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I think if you do the carry through the Whites and then through Patterson, that's like a heavy 1-2 punch. If you can take that, keep rolling, and then just at that point, it's kind of nice.
Yeah. Okay. After that point, you kind of weave through on your way back over, and you get pretty close back to Bridgeport. Did you think about going back into town there?
I actually had to. I
okay.
flatted again, ran out of patches, and didn't know what to do. And then I flagged a guy down who was coming back from a hike with his dog, who was not a hardcore cyclist, but had a bicycle and had an extra patch kit at home. And he brought me to his house and gave me a patch kit.
What?
Went back to the Burger Barn, 4th time, ding!
What?
And then he gave me his patch kit.
You got to the road here and you were like, I have to go into Bridgeport.
I couldn't ride anymore. I had another flat and I couldn't patch it. I was literally on the side of the road trying to super glue my tube back together. That didn't work. I was duct taping it. That didn't work.
Wow.
And then I just waited about an hour and then this car came by. And I was like, hey, sir, I need help. He was like, well, come on. Wow. He was super nice.
So you jumped in the car?
Got in the car, put my bike in the car, went to his house.
Wow.
And then
Bridgeport? Do you live in Bridgeport?
He lived in Bridgeport, yeah. And he had it was like a really cheap Trek with like a basic kind of like not even a glue patch, like a sticker patch kind of kit.
Yeah.
And you just had 2 of them, and I just took them to go.
Wow.
Paid him like $10.
Oh.
I was like, thank you so much.
Just
sir.
like a little, like your basic thing that a bike shop would sell you, just like a little patch kit.
Yeah, like the sticker ones.
And that
got me through the route.
Really?
Yeah, I still have that tube.
Wow.
I think I brought that tube to Baja.
No. Oh my God.
Tubes are expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So you leave Bridgeport and ride back up to rejoin the route.
Yeah, and then get back on the route. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That to me is like the home stretch point.
Then you're at home stretching
right.
for sure. Yeah.
So you get past Twin Lakes. Did you stop there at the resort?
I did actually. I went into that cafe for a while, ate a bunch of food. They had a piano there. It was super out of tune, but I played it for a while. That was nice. Yeah, it's so nice to like in the middle of something intense like this do something completely different.
Yeah.
So that was a nice little change.
Nice.
Went for a swim and then got back on the bike.
And you are in good spirits because your tube works.
Yeah, and you're almost done, and
yeah.
it's beautiful. You're back in the Sierra. You just have like these amazing peaks to look at, and you're riding through the Aspens, and yeah, that section was super beautiful.
So getting towards Lee Vining, do you remember how long that took you from Twin Lakes to Lee Vining?
That was probably maybe a full day.
Okay,
I would say.
because it's mostly downhill.
Yeah, it is mostly downhill, but it is pretty far.
And then
I remember I camped right next to that pass off of Mono or 2 Mono.
By the gas station?
So I camped pretty high.
Oh.
No, before you descend into Lee Vining.
Oh, okay.
So a little bit north. I camped up there.
Before even getting to Lee Vining.
Yeah.
How was that stretch of road?
That stretch of road is awful. That's actually easily the most dangerous part of this whole route.
Yeah, because there's no shoulder.
There's no shoulder. They're doing construction. They're still doing construction there. And it sucks, but it's really not that long. And if you're down to just like put your head down and kind of sprint that, it's fine.
Yeah. It always scares me when I drive it because they have the nets for like the rock falls. I'm like, fuck, you got to ride through this? Yeah. Okay. What did you do in Lee Vining?
I went to a diner, got some French toast. I definitely remember the French toast.
Did you go to the Mobile? The diner in the
No,
Mobile?
I didn't go to the Mobile. Okay. I've been there before. I don't know. A little gimmicky.
Yeah, it's touristy. That's a touristy spot.
Gimmicky.
Yeah.
But I did like it.
Okay.
And then, just kept pushing, I guess.
Have you ever ridden Tioga Pass?
I have not ridden the full thing. I've been up there a bunch to go like fishing, but
that's a great
That's a beautiful area.
Yeah, my boyfriend did. Friday was the bikes into Yosemite. He did that.
Nice.
So when you're in Lee Vining, you're like so close but so far.
Yeah.
Did you think
it's absurd.
2 days? Like, okay, I'm almost done.
I kind of just like wasn't trying to look at like how much is left. I was just like, I don't know, I was trying to enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
It's like this kind of hard thing to balance of like, I want to end this, but also this is my favorite thing to do in the world and I don't want this to be over.
Right. So
but also this is really hard.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, the nice thing about Walker back, there's way more towns. Like, you can just chill.
You're chilling. You don't have to carry that much food. There's water everywhere. It's really beautiful. The riding's not that hard.
Yeah.
There's that really gnarly cow patch section though, where you have to ride this like cow trail.
And it's like post-holing almost.
And it's just post-hold the whole way in the mud. And that was probably the worst part of the ride.
Okay, I've heard that. I heard it was bad from the guys that did the Grand Depart like a month before you. Mm-hmm. So that means it's still bad. Yeah. Okay, and then from Lee Vining to June, did you hang out in June at all before? Because once you're in June, you're like, I'm really close.
Like, I'm finishing this guy.
So
no, I like June though. I went for a swim and then I went to the brewery and went to Ohana's. It was open.
Perfect.
Ohana's is not always open. It's kind of like
they like close if they run out of food.
Yeah, they close like a lot of the time actually. But that was so amazing to have like actually good food.
Yeah.
For like the first time, I was talking to Alex about this whole thing, and he was like, one of his issues has been the food you eat is just all like camping, kind of camp store, like cans of tuna, packs of oatmeal, rice and beans type stuff. And that is exhausting.
Yeah.
It's hard to eat that for 2 weeks straight.
Yeah.
And just that, especially to like fulfill your calorie quota, which is insanely high.
Right.
So, I mean, when I came home from this, I think I lost like 10 pounds almost.
Oh, really?
I came home, my family was like, whoa, you look different.
Really?
Yeah, I had like sunken cheeks. I was skinny. And then I immediately, it was crazy. I finished and then I flew down to Mexico like a week later.
Okay.
And then I got crazy sick. I got sick like 3 times. I was puking like crazy.
Oh, wow.
And I've never had that experience really in Mexico. And I came back and I told my doctor and I was like, look, I've lost all this weight. I feel so bad.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think I got this parasite. You got to like test me for that. She's like, no. And then I told her about Caldera and what I'd done. And then she's like, how much were you eating out there?
Yeah.
And I told her, oh, I'd eat 4 packets of oatmeal in the morning with a bunch of peanut butter in it.
Okay.
2 times I'd stop for tortillas and tuna and some chips or something like that for lunch. Snack a little bit of fruit snacks, and then try and do like a rice and beans type of dinner. She'd be like, yeah, you're probably 2,000 calories negative per day, maybe more. I was like, I literally couldn't eat more food out there, you know, because you can't buy good food out there. It's hard to carry.
Yeah.
You got to deal with all that weight. There's just all that time you have to be riding that you don't want to be spending eating. It's hard to eat and ride on that terrain. The food situation
You were just like super behind.
Oh yeah, I lost so much weight. And I mean, I don't have like I don't have any fat storage, so I just burn straight through my muscle and just.
So did your
I was
doctor
super
think
tiny.
you just wrecked your immune system? And...
So they said I was just like calorie deficient, energy depleted, and then I went to Mexico and then ate something and then I got really sick.
Right, and you're not ready to fight it.
Yeah, and so. Get ready.
Yeah. Good luck.
That's the whole thing, right? But I think it was also like, I was so unprepared. I had no idea what I was getting in for. And then I think, therefore, it was a harder experience than it had to be. And then maybe if I was more prepared, it would have been a little smoother.
Mm-hmm. But you have just enough experience to know how to take care of yourself, like to keep going. Just enough.
Yeah, like I can get through this.
Yeah. Wow.
But this was a push. This was the hardest ride I've ever done, easily.
I mean, being at Ohana's at this point in your trip, probably like 10, 11, 12 days in, you're probably like, this is the best thing ever.
I was like, give me everything you got.
Yeah, seriously. I'll take the whole menu.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you leave, and I'm hoping you did that last stretch in just a day. And got to
that last stretch is really hard, actually. It's like really deep, kind of like that decomposed pumice. Yeah, the motos wreck that. Mm-hmm. It was pretty depressing, actually. And then that climb into Mammoth is really beautiful. It's exposed kind of before then. It was pretty hot that day.
Yeah.
And then you do that climb into Mammoth, and you're like, holy crap, I'm actually like here. Mm-hmm. And then I got into Mammoth, and I was like, I'm done. And I'm like, oh, I'm not. I have to do this stupid last climb on that bike path.
Car,
to get back to my car.
So you did. Had you ever done Mountain View before?
No, I hadn't. That climb into Mammoth.
Yeah.
No, I hadn't done that.
Okay.
That was beautiful.
Yeah. You did.
Beautiful.
It comes up, and then at a certain point you like turn, and then you're on the single track section, and then you cross.
Good single track. Yeah.
And then you get to kind of finish on that single track. So for everyone
like the bike
else,
park
that's
track.
fun. Yeah. But then you're like, I gotta climb up the.
Yeah,
bike.
But whatever. And then I have more single track to ride.
True.
It was sick. That was really fun to set.
Yeah. So you got to do all this fun stuff at the end,
with one brake.
Yeah. With a front brake.
Just
too?
a front brake. Yeah.
Oh my god. For everyone listening, I think most normal people wouldn't have been able to finish.
It was hard. It was. I'll tell you.
You know how to manage your stuff and get by with the front brake. Your bike handling skills are okay.
Yeah, I can ride a bike pretty well. Yeah. It's like, and I'm just so absurdly stubborn that literally nothing would have stopped me on that. I mean, not literally nothing. I think there's a lot of things that would have stopped me, but I definitely wanted to finish.
You're also willing to ask people for help, which some people
for sure,
aren't. Yeah. Some people are more nervous about that.
Yeah.
Patch Kit guy saved you.
Oh man, he was so great.
Wow. Well, thank you for reliving your 500 miles with us. That's fun.
That was a crazy 2 weeks.
Yeah. So, okay. So you do it, you finish it, you have the nighttime rowdy troublemaker. What is your feedback back to Alan and Alex at that point? Are you in kind of like a what the fuck did I just do mode? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it was like, it's hard. It's like undeniably hard, but it's also a really beautiful amazing route that was really well researched. It's put together pretty well. There was not a lot of resources out there that it existed to make it easier, but there were enough that it was doable. And I appreciated that. And then I figured, writing a little bit more about like what you need, how to do this, what it's going to be like. I thought that was a pretty good thing to do.
Yeah.
But, I didn't really have much feedback other than we had to do those 2 route changes, that one for legality and that one because it was just so stupid to ride that one thing. And I think this route was kind of made with this like level of like not stupidity, but Alan said it was a way to go and like put a really hard route together through the Sierra. But also the Sierra just being what it is, there's no easy way to get around that in that landscape. It's so hostile. It's so demanding. You're at elevation the entire time.
Yeah.
A lot of this dirt is really hard to ride through. So I think like the feedback is the Sierra makes a route really hard. Alan is a type of guy who wants to make a route really hard. You put those together, it's going to be a really hard route. But if you can get through that aspect, it is still really rewarding. It's so beautiful. It's this really like amazing part of the country, and I still find the Sierra to be like a highly underrated part of North America. Which is crazy because it's still so highly rated.
I know.
But it's like people are like, yeah, there's Yosemite and there's nothing else to me. I don't care about anything else in that area, and I find that so stupid. And then like going there, I had grown up going to the Sierra my whole life, going fishing with my grandpa, and then this was my first time there as an adult by myself.
Oh.
So it was really cool getting to see it from a totally different perspective.
Yeah.
And then seeing like, I know this river right here that you ride across, but I don't know where it goes after this. I had never been into the Whites before. Like I had never seen the bristlecones up close. I had never gone into these like little cow patty places, and like I'd never been to Patterson. I'd never been to the Glass Mountains. We went to Bodie one time in a Jeep to be part of that tribe.
Right.
But then it's just like you get to look at that from a different perspective too, and then like kind of consider who we are and what we do.
Right.
And, I mean, this route, it really like was super stunning, very rewarding. My feedback was just like, dude, thank you so much for doing that. I was so stoked you did that.
Yeah.
This is a great route.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, so our Mammoth route for the gravel event, the long one basically goes Casa Diablo down almost all the way to Bishop, and then it goes up Fish Slough, and then you wind your way back to Mammoth from there.
That would be a good one.
And a lot of people that came last year were like, I didn't really even like think about the Whites being there.
Yeah.
And it gives you this like 360 mountain view, which is, a lot of people forget that that's even
and the Whites are defined by the Sierra like that, being in their rain shadow. It means that these are like incredibly hostile mountains, but stunning in their kind of way to persist through that. Like the bristlecones are such a ancient and kind of angry and gnarly and beautiful thing. I loved it over there. And then you just get to look at glaciers.
Okay, so we kind of went through gear things that worked and didn't work for you. Would you have changed any other gear stuff besides the straps?
Yeah, I would have done the straps, the trail runners.
That's okay.
I would have brought a brake cable, another set of brake pads.
Just like extra stuff.
I would have been a little better prepared when it came to that, and then like more tube and patches and stuff like that.
What about hand placement?
That was fine.
Yeah.
I just ran. I have like some really like high riser, big sweep. They're like Husky, the Longhorn City bars.
Okay.
They're like 50 mil rise, 27-degree sweep. And then I put some ergon kind of nice grips on there.
Okay.
So it's like up. I got a really nice comfy position on that bike.
Yeah, because Adrian and Tony, both of them, have in the past had like nerve damage stuff from this route.
Whoa.
So yeah, I mean, they're also trying to do it a lot faster than you.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Tony took like 6 days or something. Okay. Yeah. So mostly just like because of the remoteness of it, bring extra stuff, like more than you would maybe.
I think like it'll eat your bike for sure.
Yeah.
And then.
But frame and tires, you were happy with.
Well, no, I had that double flat.
Well, right, but like, but would you have changed your tires?
I would have run 29x3 agagan. I just would have run a different tire.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like a more durable one. I was running those WTB Ranger, the light ones.
Oh.
Because they only make the light ones now. They don't make a heavier casing. I would have run a different, heavier casing tire.
Got it.
And then that's about it.
Well, one of my questions is going to be hardest climb, but do you think that
Easily
that's Patterson?
Easily.
Most challenging section, like mentally?
Easily Patterson.
Okay. And one of the questions was, did you sleep in any lodgings in the towns?
No, I think I slept in my tent the whole time. I think the only bathing I did was just swimming in rivers.
Nice. And just parks, napping.
Yeah, napped in a bunch of parks, yeah.
And then 2 route modifications after the ride, right? And then my last question was, did you see any wild horses? But you did.
Did see some wild horses, yeah. Didn't
just
see
the one section?
That one section, yeah. And then I don't think I saw a lot of other wildlife. I saw some marmots, some grouses, a couple deer. I'll tell you this, I met more deer hunters than I met deer.
Okay.
Oh, it was really funny. I was like in that section after Twin Peaks.
That's scary.
Or Twin Lakes. Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
And I met this guy, and he was like, man, there's a lot of bikers up here. I've been seeing you guys all over the place. And I was like,
please don't shoot me.
And I was like, no, there's not a lot of bikers up here in these mountains. He's like, yeah, I saw this guy yesterday out like in near Bodie, or like 2 days ago near Bodie, and then like 4 days prior in Fish Slough. I was like, yeah, those were both me.
I was going to say.
I was like, you just seen me 3 times. There's not a lot of people out here.
This guy was probably like, no.
Yeah.
Did he believe you?
No, yeah. He was like, I forget exactly where we were saying, but he was like, yesterday I was here. I was like, yeah, I was there yesterday. And then he was like, 4 days ago, I was here. And I was like, that was also me, bro.
Oh, wow. That's
it was really
crazy.
Funny.
Wow.
So, yeah, I saw more deer hunters than deer.
I wonder if that's like the time of year.
Yeah, October's hunting season.
That's scary.
Yeah.
That's kind of scary. I didn't think of that.
I didn't know.
Oh.
We're orange.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you when I decided to do this back in 2021, like the reattempt of it. This was my plan. This was my like fast plan. So Mammoth to Bishop, it's 155 miles. In one push,
bro.
And then my idea was to like sleep there. Like I would have honestly slept for like 10 hours and like got a place to stay in Bishop. So that is still,
I feel like
my pipe dream is to get through the first push like that.
I feel like you should just go do that just straight to Big Pine, because you can just stay at a hotel in Big Pine.
Yeah.
And then do the Whites, because the Whites is a really hard section.
Yeah.
I think that's worth also trying to do in just one push too. Or maybe even like a 2-day push. I really liked, especially because that climb is hot and exposed. I really like doing that at night. I was totally happy with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. That's like I can't imagine.
But here's the thing. This is why it's good to have these conversations, because anybody else looking at this, 155 miles, people are like, I can do that in a day, right? No, but like on pavement, on most gravel routes, 150 miles is not out of the question for one push. But location, time of year, the extremeness of it,
you're crossing rivers.
So then my next,
you're at elevation.
Yeah,
it's hot. It's cold. It's hot. It's cold. It's hot. It's cold.
So this is my day 2 push, which is a little bit shorter. It's Bishop to Bridgeport, which is 115 miles.
That's a hard day too.
Yeah.
That's a really hard day. And then right after Bridgeport, you have the hardest part of the route.
Right. Those were my only 2. I gotta try and at least do that. So then the rest of my trip, my idea was like Bridgeport to who knows where because of Patterson and weather and all of that. And then the rest of it, because like we talked about, the towns and the resupplies are so much closer together, you can kind of just play it by ear more. But it was my fear of the lack of resupply in the Whites and the Glass Mountains. Everybody has said, like, depending on the year, there can be no water in there.
This year there's gonna be plenty of water.
Yeah, true. But yeah, that was my big goal was to do the Mammoth to Bishop push, which
How many days are you trying to do this in?
I mean, I always wanted to get back to the like trying to beat Adrian's time, which is 4 days, 18 hours, and 40 minutes.
Yeah, see, we're just talking about 2 different things then.
Well, yeah. but also the reality of, like, Adrian's probably, he knows this area the most out of anyone. You did it without knowing anything, so there's a happy medium in there somewhere. Of
yeah. But, like, I can't even imagine what that experience would have been like, doing this whole route in 4 days.
So Tony, who finished it in September, probably a few weeks before you, he did it in 4 days, 23 hours and 28 minutes. Yeah, and I talked to him, and the thing is in the Facebook group, but basically he is the least prepared he's ever been for ever trying to do this. The like least amount of time he's ever spent on his equipment, like prepping anything. He was like, I kind of just wanted to do it for fun, and it was when I finally went into it, I want to just do it and finish it, was when he finally finished it. All the other times he had these like time goals or like things that he wanted to accomplish, and he didn't get to do it. So
there's something to be said for that.
Yeah. But yeah, I think as is evident from the attempt and results sheet, there's not very many people who have finished it, and there's a reason why. So
I was told it was like 15 people have attempted, 5 have finished. Mm-hmm. But am I the only person who's attempted it in like a 3-week span?
Yeah, there's other people that have tried to tour it, but then they'll, like, something usually happens mechanically, even if they are trying to go slower. And so some of those people that have tried that, like Hunter, he ended up just doing the 250 North last year, and he finished that. So I think people are like, okay, let me do more bite-sized pieces of this.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's like...
Yeah, would you ever do the shorter ones?
I would like to.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't feel the need to go back there right now and bike pack that. It was actually interesting. I was just up there backpacking a little bit in like the High Sierra, which was really fun.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think there would be a lot to be said just to tour it the first time, to really like understand the whole flow of it, and then make a kind of a better battle plan for going and like making a fast attempt at it.
Yeah, so the inaugural finisher was 5 days, 4 hours, and the second guy to finish it took him 7 days, 10 hours, and I think that's the longest before you. Mm-hmm. So that when I talked to Alex, and he was like, oh yeah, some guy did it in 2 weeks, I was like, 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Nobody's ever done that. They're like taking their time and done it, so I thought it was cool that, yeah, that you took your time. And it was nice, obviously, that you weren't stressed about time. Like, you didn't have any other obligations to...
Yeah, that's the nice part about this kind of lifestyle.
Right. It's just like, whatever. That's one thing I like about bikepacking, is leaving and that feeling of like self-sufficiency that you have everything
it's
that
like
you need.
That I think that's the ultimate version of freedom nowadays.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
if all you have is all you need, and then you have plenty of time.
Mm-hmm. Every time I've left knowing I'm gonna go sleep out somewhere and I have everything on me, that's like one of the best feelings in the world. Yeah. Everybody needs to try that at some point.
Yeah, I love that. I got hooked on that feeling of just like leaving camp in the morning.
Yeah.
And just like, all right, I'm moving through the world again.
Right.
And it's just such like a peaceful and rewarding way to do it on a bicycle. That's like that first packing up and rolling out. That's what hooked me.
Yeah. And like anything can happen, right? It's like who knows what's going to happen that day, where for 99% of the rest of the world, everybody kind of knows what's going to happen in their day. It's like that routine and expectation stuff.
But it's exhausting though.
Yeah.
It's super exhausting.
Mentally, I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure. Cool. Well, thanks so much. This was fun to hear about that. That was going to be one of my questions, was like, how soon do you want to go back and try any of the shorter stuff? But yeah,
it's going to be a while.
Okay. Really? Just because just that hard?
No, it's not like I'm like traumatized in any sense. It's more like I kind of want to just go do other things right now. Mm-hmm. There's like a lot more on my list that's a lot more pressing than revisiting this route.
True. And you've had such a unique, good experience, and you saw like the nooks and crannies that most people don't get to see.
I mean, I would like to go do like even a different kind of route in that area. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I remember driving through and doing some camping about 4 years ago in the area, the Eastern Sierra area, and just looking around being like, God, there has to be some great bike packing out here. And then I heard about Caldera and I thought that like, this is sick, but I still think that there's potential for more, like a bigger loop or like further out and
more in the whites for sure.
Even like, but more north and more south, maybe even just more north. Like, I wanted to even just connect this route to the Tahoe Twirl and then make like a massive figure eight. I thought that would have been beautiful. That's a really good route if you haven't done that one.
I haven't heard of it.
Yeah. Tahoe Twirl, it's just around Tahoe. It's about 5 days.
Oh.
Super beautiful. And I don't know. I think like there's a lot more potential there for more bike packing.
Yeah.
But also, I think that landscape, it doesn't really lend itself naturally to bike packing because it's so elevation, like there's so much climbing.
Yeah.
The dirt's so gnarly.
It's
and
just so extreme.
Kind of the best part about the Eastern Sierra is kind of the high alpine, and the high alpine is inaccessible by bicycle.
Right.
So
right, yeah.
I don't know.
That's true. Mammoth Lakes, their like transportation authority is they're working on this project where they want to connect Tahoe and Mammoth, like a town to trails thing. Kind of like, not Downeyville, but the Lost Sierra area kind of did that, where they made that big loop connecting all these towns. So they're trying to do something similar, which the only way that they can is kind of half of this route. So they're in the works of like trying to figure out how to do it and then what kind of bike to suggest people do it on, because it's like,
well, because they're not gonna like pave a bike path the whole way.
No, they would just have a suggested route that they would more semi-maintain so that it's not ruined by the side-by-sides, and kind of keep it that way. But we'll see how that transpires. But it is, like you were saying, like it just seems like there's so much more, and there is, but some of it is just so inaccessible that they realize they kind of have to hold people's hand to figure it out. But yeah. Cool. Thanks for...
when are you doing your next to town?
So my original plan was Labor Day weekend, and then I was like...
It's going to be rowdy up there.
Yeah. My Labor Day weekend idea was like thinking I would be better off with a like potentially a lot more people around if I needed like, hey, do you have water?
Yeah. That's actually a good idea. I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah, like you have more side-by-sides, more motos that are going to be out there. But Mammoth TUFF is September 15 through 17 weekend, and where I'm at right now, I'm like, there's no way I have like a week to disappear before that. So I think I'm going to do it after and probably do it that first week of October.
Okay.
Which is, I think, when you did it.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, I'd be curious to know if you can go back and look what day you actually left, just so I know if I'm like in the ballpark of weather.
Figure it out pretty fast.
But yeah, we'll see. I'm super nervous just because it's been like a 3-year thing.
Yeah.
But I'm the only person to finish the 150 South route.
Yeah. Which is definitely tough. Okay, I started September 20th.
Oh, okay.
So a little earlier.
Oh, that's good to know. Because, yeah, October starts getting cold at night.
Yeah, but I think, like, we have no idea what it's going to be like this winter.
That's fascinating. So you started, like, right when the other guys finished.
It was, like, right after the Grand Depart. I remember, and I was going to try and make it to the Grand Depart, but I was scheduled to do a different project.
Tony must have finished that afternoon that you started.
That's funny.
Think. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, we almost crossed paths then.
Yeah, he's cool. He lives in Bishop and has tried this, I think, 3 or 4 times or whatever, and there was always something, so it was a big deal that he finally finished it this year. But yeah, so for everyone interested, go look it up. We're kind of putting all of the information for the event on our website, so I'm gonna dump all of the stuff that was on Alex's over to ours and kind of house it. And the Forest Service was okay with us taking over this as long as we never charge money for it. I was like, yeah, it's just bike packing. Yeah. Because we have to have a permit with them for our event. And it was this whole thing, like, if I take this over, are we going to get in trouble? Because I don't want to have to get permits for this. And they were like, yeah, no, it's fine. Just don't ever charge money. And you're just housing the routes, basically, for people to go do. So, yeah, I'll have the website up. People can go check it out. I'm going to end up getting the routes and stuff up there as well. Do you feel like people still use Caltopo for bike packing stuff?
I've actually, other than this, had never used Caltopo before. I'm just a strict Gaia guy. Yeah. I really like Gaia.
Yeah. Gaia. Yeah, and I think it's more like backpackers that use Caltopo or like backcountry skiers because you can do like...
Yeah, it has a lot more like snow features.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think we'll get the routes at least just into ride with GPS, and then if we ever need to make changes and whatnot from there. But yeah, do you have any like big things for me that we should like note for people, or any, because you put this on the map, publishing on bikepacking.com. There's like, I get probably 5 to 10 requests a week for the Facebook group.
What?
Yeah.
Whoa.
So, and like a bunch of people have been bugging me about the Grand Depart for September. I'm like, I think I'm just going to keep it the same weekend that we did it last year, which was the Friday before our event. So yeah, I got to get this information up because people are bugging me.
Yeah, whoa.
Yeah. So yeah, you definitely put it on the map. People are stoked. So I'm like playing this game of like making it accessible, but also how much do I say?
But also this route.
Be careful.
This route, by its nature, makes it inaccessible, right?
Right.
Like it's one of these things where like you can put this on the front page of the New York Times and like only 10 people are going to finish it then, you know?
Right, but what if 100 people try it and like then there's accidents and
yeah,
stuff.
but I think like if you're on bikepacking.com, you know what's going on.
True.
Like you're
a little more aware.
You're aware of what this whole thing is.
Yeah.
And I write in the write-up, this is really hard.
You're like caution.
Yeah,
like,
caution.
Yeah. Okay.
Like this.
So
is
that's
not,
probably what your suggestion is like be straight up about what people do.
Yeah, and like, you know, there's like waivers and whatnot. Like by downloading this route, it says on the website like you admit that we hold no responsibility in case you get hurt.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Okay.
This is an inherently dangerous sport.
Mm-hmm.
So.
The usual.
Yeah. But have fun. I don't know. Like that's sick. I was really excited because like this is a route that is so great. This is an area that is so special. I think it needs more. I do think it's underrated and it should get more attention, and like people should spend more time on their bicycles in the Eastern Sierra.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I guess that's really cool that more people want to join it.
Yeah. Yeah. The whole reason why it started for me was I sat down after a ride with Adrian one day and he was like, have you ever heard of the Caldera? And I was like, no. And he was like, well, no woman has ever finished it. And I was like,
ding.
Challenge accepted. He was like, I think you can do it. And then that started this whole quest to, and like, you know, back then I wish somebody had said, Amanda, there's a reason why there's 4 finishers. But it's been a fun project. Like I've written so many sections just by itself, and so it's kind of this idea of just putting it all together now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I once again, like, you don't have to race it. You don't have to do it in 5 days. 2 weeks is it's 2 amazing weeks, you know? Slower you go, the better it is.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks, Evan. That was fun.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah.